Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and today I wanted to show you a really cool fish store, Agnoquatics. It's located just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, near the Strongsville area. So many cool fish to see, some stuff I hadn't seen before. Hope you enjoy the video. Appreciate you being here. So this is Agnoquatics just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, near the Strongsville area. And this is a really cool fish store. In fact, there were some fish here that I had never seen before and some fish I hadn't seen in a very long time. And so I want to take you around, show you some cool stuff. And by the way, if you want more information on some of the fish that are featured in this video, check out the description below because we'll have a bunch of species profiles there, including one on these awesome fish here, the gold Ocellatus. This is a shell dweller. It's a more aggressive shell dweller, but it has a ridiculous amount of personality, and it can be a little bit feisty, but they are really fun to breed, and they don't require a very large tank. They had a lot of cool Tanganyika fish. As we're starting off here, I'm showing you the Devil Cichlid. These are fish that tend to grow very, very slowly. And then over here, we've got the blue Ocellatus. So it's a variation of the golds I just showed you. They behave pretty much the same way, just a little bit different color. These are some cool fish. The more checkerboard looking ones, they were labeled Julichromis mallory, but they look a lot like the Transcriptus as well. We have Transcriptus in our fish room. And then we've got the Lampropelagus signatus. This is another shell dweller. They get a little bit on the larger side compared to some of the other shell dwellers. We've had them in our fish room before. We've bred them in a 20-gallon. These are really cool fish. I have found that the males can be a little bit harder on one another than some of the other more common shell dwellers like the Maltese and the Similis. And if you want to see some just general community fish, the Spot Rasbora, tons of them here. There were also some lizard tail plecos. Those are the larger fish that you see along the substrate there. Those are cool fish. We actually have a couple in our fish room, and I really like them. Gotta love cherry barbs. Look at the colors on these fish, and they were a good size. The males tend to show a little bit more color than the females, so the females are that lighter orange and the males tend to be that more cherry color. But these are fantastic looking fish. They go really well in a lot of community tanks, usually 10 gallons or greater. And here's some baby Mbuna Cichlids. You got some yellow labs here, some OB red zebras as well. Really cool fish, really like them. The Rosy Cichlids is another type of Mbuna Cichlid that tends to be a little bit more docile. Those are great fish to have if you're just starting an Mbuna tank. And of course, there were some of the bigger South and Central American cichlids. You got the red devils here, which they're going to require a larger tank than anything we've seen so far. These jewel cichlids were awesome. Reminded me of the ones I used to have back in the day. These are great fish. The Vieja, argentea, I actually have two of them growing out in a 125. They get large, definitely over 12 to 13 inches, but when they get that large, the colors they show are truly amazing. This is Hemichromis exul. We have a group of these growing out right now. I really like this. This is a type of jewel cichlid, and I really love their color. And then we've got the green severums. I think from the severum perspective, these tend to be the more aggressive. Not that they're very aggressive, but they tend to be the most aggressive of the severums that we've kept. I love these red hook silver dollars. They were a nice size, and they showed really great color. What I was impressed with when we went to Agnoquatics is the size of their rainbow fish. They had a number of tanks with rainbow fish in them, and the rainbow fish were large. They were already showing great color. If you've never kept rainbows before, they have a really great color, but when they're smaller, they don't tend to show that color, and so it takes a little bit of patience for you to see that. And what's cool is when you can go to a pet store and you can buy them, and they're already showing wonderful color at a decent size. And these pearl gouramis were really cool as well. We've got a group of these right now in the fish room. One of my favorite gouramis. The video is not going to do these fish justice, but the swordtails that you see here had such an incredible deep orange to them. They really showed off well against that darker background. this pleco was really cool. This is a blue phantom pleco. We actually have a few of these in our fish room, kind of hanging out in different tanks. Really pretty fish. And of course, you've got the dwarf neon rainbows here as well. They were pretty large, I would say pretty close to full grown and showing a lot of color. And here we have some peacock cichlids. They're mixed in with some frontosa here. Males were showing great color. The frontosa are pretty decent size. Frontosa, for people who are interested in these fish, they get quite large, usually 12 inches or larger, but they grow very, very slowly. So to see frontosa at a pet store that are already 3, 4, 5 inches, it takes a while to get them that large. And here we have some Rosy Barbs mixed in with some silver dollars and various other types of fish. That was a pretty cool tank with a ton of action. I really like this fish, the Asian rummy nose. I hadn't seen these before, and the camera's not doing them quite the justice they deserve. They had this really nice light blue color, and the orange in their fins and on their face was really interesting. And then here we've got the African barb. Again, this was a fish that I had not seen before. As they get larger, they do tend to show more color, which is pretty interesting. And of course, they've got smaller fish here. You've got the celestial pearl danio. This is a wonderful fish that shows a lot of color, but they don't get very large. They top out at around 3/4 of an inch or so. Really good for those more community type tanks. Lots of pretty angel fish at this pet store. The Geophagus here were also really cool. And so, yeah, there was a ton of different selection when it comes to angel fish. And they had a few different types of Geophagus for those of you who are interested in those as well. These jurupari are really cool Geophagus. When they get larger, they have a spangling across their body that is unrivaled in the Geophagus genus. Have some more cool African cichlids, some peacock cichlids. And by the way, we did not film every single tank here. It would have been too much. This video probably would have been 45 minutes, but I did want to highlight some of the cool fish. But again, if you're in the area, this is a pet store worth checking out. Love these fish. The Roseline Shark, otherwise known as the Denison barb. They get pretty large, but they tend not to be very aggressive. But this is a really good fish if you're looking for something that's going to get around 6 inches, maybe a little bit larger, and be a really great fish for some of your larger, less aggressive South and Central American cichlids. You put these in a group in a 6-foot tank, and they're going to be a pretty cool thing to look at. And we've got the little sparkling gouramis here. This is definitely at the top of my list of some of my favorite types of gouramis. They stay small, good for nano tanks. In this tank as well, there were also some Pygmy Cory Cats that you're going to see in a moment. And this was a really cool little setup. Again, if you're into smaller nano type tanks, there are a lot of options here at Agnoquatics for all of those tanks that are even 5 gallons and above. At least the pet stores by me, we don't always see the smaller types of rasboras that are good for nano tanks. This is the 3 spot here. You can see a bunch in the back as well. Glad they had them here. Again, in our area at least, these aren't really all that common to see at a pet store. Another really cool angelfish, and I'm going to leave you here with a bunch of pretty cool discus. They had discus of all different colors, and the sizes were pretty decent. They all looked healthy, which was pretty cool. Now in the back, You can kind of see sneaking around there in the substrate. There were also some orange laser Cory Cats. We have these catfish in Cory Cats in our fish room, and I really like them. In fact, we've got them in a couple different tanks, and if you ever want to see a Cory Cat that really does shine from across the room, this is one of those Cory Cats that will do that. So again, this was Agnoquatics, located right outside of the Cleveland, Ohio area. Highly recommend if you're in that area, check them out. It's definitely worth it. If you want more information on the fish that were featured in this video, check out the description below. Appreciate you being here, and we will see you in the next one.